In a cramped alleyway, workers carry a long metal object past hanging overhead wires. Then the load shifts upward into the wrong clearance zone, and the street turns into an instant electrical hazard zone. On an active job site, a worker moves below an elevated work area when an unexpected material suddenly drops from above without warning. Never ever stand or work beneath active overhead operations, as without wearing proper head protection, falling objects can strike before there's time to react. When materials fall from height, gravity rapidly converts potential energy into downward force. Even small objects gain significant impact energy over short vertical distances. Overhead hazards are silent and fast. Head protection reduces impact risk when the unexpected falls. Inside a small industrial workshop, a worker reaches into an active machine housing, and in an instant, the moving components engage the space inside. Never, ever place your hands inside energized machinery without full lockout and isolation. Moving parts can engage without warning. Rotating or reciprocating machine components create continuous mechanical motion driven by motors and stored kinetic energy. When the operating zone is entered, friction and rotational force can engage and move faster than human reaction time. Lock out and isolate machines before reaching inside. Moving mechanisms do not stop for human reflexes. In a confined indoor space, a worker cuts overhead metal and a shower of bright sparks scatter downward close to his position. Never ever cut or grind overhead without full face protection and controlled positioning. Falling sparks and debris follow gravity directly towards you. Angle grinders eject high-temperature metal particles at high velocity during cutting. When working overhead, gravity and momentum direct those sparks and fragments downward along the operator's line of sight and body position. Overhead cutting sends heat and debris straight down. Protect your face and control your cutting angle before you start. Inside a workshop with open floor access pits, a worker lowers a heavy metal sheet into position, and in a split second, the panel shifts and support is lost. Never ever position yourself over an open pit while placing a cover panel. Secure the panel from outside the opening before shifting your weight. When placing a loose metal sheet over an opening, the panel has no fixed support until fully seated. If body weight is applied before it is aligned and stabilized, gravity pulls the system off balance as a single, unstable unit. Place pit covers from stable ground, not from over the opening. Unsecured panels cannot support body weight even for a moment. In an industrial yard, a worker moves along the curved metal structure of a tanker when a sudden flash of ignition appears without warning. Never, ever conduct operations around a tanker carrying flammable material without proper grounding, vapor control, and ignition source management. Fuel vapors can ignite instantly when conditions align. Inside a factory floor, two workers stand near a large rotating roller machine when one sleeve gets too close to the moving drum and the rotating surfaces engage instantly. Never, ever reach near exposed rotating rollers without guards and full lockout. Entanglement hazards react faster than human reflexes. Rotating rollers create continuous nip points where surfaces draw material inward. When clothing or other material enters that pinch zone, friction and rotational torque pull it toward the contact point instantly. Keep clear of rotating nip points at all times. Guard and lock out machinery before approaching moving rollers. Inside a processing plant, technicians in full protective suits stand beside a tall metallic vessel. Then a dense white vapor suddenly erupts directly from the container itself. Never, ever approach a pressurized metallic vessel without confirmed isolation and internal pressure verification. Assumptions around containment can fail instantly. In a dry farm field, a worker reaches toward a running agricultural machine to clear a blockage, when the moving mechanism suddenly engages and draws material inward at once. Never, ever attempt to clear a blockage from active farm machinery without full shutdown and isolation. Rotating components do not pause for quick fixes. Agricultural machines use rotating shafts and feed mechanisms that generate continuous torque. When debris or tools enter the intake zone, friction and mechanical force can pull objects inward instantly, multiplying applied force in fractions of a second. Shut down and isolate before clearing any blockage. Machines move faster than reaction time. Inside a vehicle repair bay, a large transmission housing hangs suspended beneath a raised vehicle. When the supported unit suddenly shifts mid-position, never, ever position yourself beneath a suspended drivetrain component. Do secure the load with a rated transmission jack and stabilize it fully before adjusting or removing mounting hardware. In a yard under CCTV, a dump truck raises its raised bed high into the air. Then the hydraulic arm suddenly gives way and the entire body drops without warning. Never, ever stand beneath or beside a raised dump body. Without mechanical locking supports engaged, hydraulics alone are not fail-safe supports. Hydraulic cylinders hold load through pressurized fluid, but seal failure or line rupture causes instant pressure loss. Once pressure drops, gravity converts the elevated mass into rapid downward force with no gradual transition. Hydraulics lift loads, they do not guarantee support. Always use secondary mechanical locks before working near raised beds. At the edge of a muddy excavation pit, a worker stands below while an excavator bucket swings overhead. Then a full load of soil pours down directly into the trench. Never, ever stand inside a trench beneath an active excavator bucket. Establish clear exclusion zones before any load is moved overhead. On a busy street construction site, a fully loaded concrete mixer truck rolls toward a freshly formed trench. Then the ground beneath it suddenly collapses. Never, ever position heavy vehicles over unsupported excavations. Verify soil stability and structural support before load transfer. Concrete mixer trucks carry concentrated axle loads that create extreme ground pressure. If the underlying soil or trench support is uncompacted or undercut, the weight exceeds bearing capacity, triggering sudden shear failure and collapse. Heavy loads require verified ground support before positioning. Soil failure happens without warning under concentrated weight. Inside a busy auto shop, a visibly swollen tire rolls on the floor. And the moment it's punctured, compressed air releases suddenly, driving the wheel outward as an uncontrolled force. Never, ever puncture, cut, or tamper with a swollen or overpressurized tire. Depressurize it using controlled remote deflation procedures only. On a busy factory floor, a high-speed rotating assembly spins openly along a production line. Then a split-second contact converts steady rotation into an uncontrolled pulling force. Never, ever approach or work near an exposed rotating shaft, chuck, or spindle unless it is fully guarded and locked out from. At a dim roadside turn, a pedestrian crosses in front of a semi-truck, stepping into a blind spot that limits the driver's view. Never, ever walk directly in front of a stopped or turning semi-truck. Keep a wide safety distance and make eye contact with the driver before crossing. On a roadside work area, a worker inflates a tire as pressure climbs beyond its rated limit. Then the casing fails suddenly, releasing compressed air in an uncontrolled burst. Never ever inflate a tire while leaning over it. Use a clip-on air chuck, stand clear, and inflate from a safe distance. On a narrow roadside, a worker climbs a tall rolling scaffolding to cut a heavy tree limb. Then the branch shifts and gravity pulls the platform off balance. Never ever cut or drop heavy limbs while standing on unsecured scaffolding. Use proper rigging, controlled lowering, and a stable work platform designed for tree work. Don't forget to share what you learned today in the comments. Your insight could save a life. Take care.